Hey, guys.
Hey.
This is S and M, and the podcast, I bet you think this podcast is about you. And if you think it's about you, it's because you're a narcissist or have another antisocial personality disorder. We are not mental health experts, and probably never will be. Although a few times I've been accused of thinking I am lately. For people who've listened to the podcast, that's okay. Whatever. Anyway, we are, before we delve into our topic today, we're going to go back to our favorite warm-up.
Yeah.
Daily high-low. This is so good.
This is so fun.
Why is it this? We always record on days where M has the best high and low. So go.
Okay. All right. So my high, I'll start there. My high today, which you already know about this.
Because I get the text.
You get the text. I'm trying to think if there's anything that was better. No. Okay.
People think that you just text me 24/7 if they listen to this, which is sort of true. It's okay.
This is like, and here's another text.
Mm-hmm.
So my high is that I'm in sales, and there's a particular competitor of mine that drives me crazy. And I went into his largest account, and I stole a lot of business today. And I was just in there like a little angel, just talking about my products and talking about what they do. And they're like, oh, we want that. And they were comparing them to his products, and I cleaned house in there. So that was, I don't even care about the dollar signs behind it. I'm just like, I can't wait for him to walk in there and be like, damn it.
I know, so I happen to know this person. And I'm going to tell you right now, he is going to try to play this so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even going to pretend like he's not even mad.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and my low, which you also know about, is that I have a ghost. I have a fucking ghost. Not only do I have a ghost in my new condo, I've been there for 3 days, and this piece of shit already thinks that he can run my household. He's turning the air conditioning on, and I know it's a guy because he's leaving the frickin' toilet seat up.
What?
Like, I'm a girl. I was there for 3 days. I didn't put the toilet, like, that's not the top part, like, but the rim part, you know? And I was like, this little piece of shit.
Leaves your toilet seat up.
Yeah.
The poltergeist.
And then something fell off, of my shelf in my bathroom. When I got up.
Okay, but
to turn the air on, and as I was walking back, I was like, oh, what the fuck was that? And like a painting on my shelf in my bathroom was on the floor, right by the toilet.
He loves the toilet. Hey, but this isn't even the best part of the story. The best part of the story is that you had an exorcism.
Oh, I did have
Then you got one to play one of those like EMF devices, which I've always wanted.
And she was just like, oh my God, oh, something's not right. And it kept going off. And whenever I would talk, the thing would light up like crazy.
Maybe you're a ghost.
I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me. Been called worse.
Okay, what's terrible. So my high-low for the day, mine are not nearly as like a big deal on either direction. However, my high was that when I had a little lull professionally today. I was playing with my phone, and I figured out how to change my autocorrect so that it doesn't say ducking every time I write the word fucking. So now I'm free with my fucks. I can just write fuck and fucking. Oh my gosh. And it just comes right up. It doesn't say ducking. Whoever uses the word ducking in a sentence?
You need to start charging people and be like, I have the secret that you all want to know.
I know. I'm so proud of myself. So
that's awesome.
I'm free to curse freely on text. It's going to be awesome. I actually had it changed so that the word ducking gets auto-corrected to fucking. Because those keys are right next to each other. Anyway.
Because the next time that you're typing ducking, it'll change for you.
It'll change to fucking. It's okay. Not that like I said, I would never use that word in a
sentence.
No,
who does?
Like, why?
Yeah,
anyway.
Ever. Okay, so that was your high. What was your low?
My low is that this is stupid, but I cannot find my glasses. And so I'm really lazy, and I always want to be able to see. So
I don't think it's being lazy because you want to see.
I know, but like, I can't find them. I always lose them. I don't know where the fuck they are. They might be, I don't know, whatever. I almost revealed a little too much there.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Your ghost maybe took them.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I did leave sunglasses at your house.
Yeah, and then I broke those.
That fucking ghost broke those. Dick. He hates me. Anyway.
So do you have contacts?
Yeah, so I have contacts, but because I can't find my glasses and I never want to not be able to see. I've been sleeping with my contacts in and my eyes are killing me.
Yeah.
It's like my allergies. Plus, I think I've worn a pair of dailies for 3 days now.
Oh, no.
I know. They're feeling a little gritty.
Wow.
I know.
I'm surprised your eyes aren't like bright red.
I know.
They're not.
I know. They're so perfect. Right? I mean, I know, but they feel like shit. So it's been bugging me all day. And you know, when things just irritate you just a tiny bit all day long and you just...
Everything
gets under your skin.
Everything is, yeah.
I know.
Good. Let's let it out then with this show.
So today's topic is narcissism within the religious communities. And we're not just talking about one in particular, but about how it sort of infects a religious community. And we had some fun playing with the title of this podcast. So this is episode 7. It's 7 now, right?
Yeah. Episode
7, Father, Son, and Holy Ghosted. There was a lot of wine that went into coming up with that name. It's a good one, though.
I love it.
All right. We could just end the show right now. That was perfect.
Yep.
So Em and I both come from different but somewhat similar religious backgrounds. You want to just have a very brief discussion of yours, my friend?
Well, actually, I'll just say I grew up Catholic.
Ew.
But like there's different types of Catholics, and I grew up in the sector, I even forgot the name, but like it's the most conservative, like just ridiculous. Every rule that you can think of if you're not a Catholic that you heard about Catholics, that's how I was raised. In fact, I even and I was mentioning this to us over the weekend. I went to when I was 15, I went to a like all girls leadership camp in Boston. It was all these Catholic girls running around. So of course, the first thing I do is find the most rebellious chick, and then she and I become best friends. And we just basically tooled around Boston. We skipped all the shit. But when we were like all the girls were going out and doing their little prayer sessions, we stayed behind and we looked through like all the leaders' rooms, like their bedrooms.
You did not.
Yeah, we did. And
did you find
one
condoms?
thing I'll say, oh no. The one thing I'll say, there were ducks everywhere.
What?
Like wooden ducks everywhere. We're both like, why the fuck are there ducks everywhere? And then, but when we went into their rooms, we found whips and chains.
And ducks.
Yeah.
The ducks is like an outlier here. I'm not understanding the ducks, but the whips and chains.
Me neither.
What the
whips
fuck was
and chains. So that
is
to
this
give
some
you
like kinky sex act?
Brief idea. It is what they do to, because if you're Catholic, you're a piece of shit.
It's self-flagellation.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So that's why they all wore like shorts that were down to their fucking ankles, because like they would
also known as pants.
What's the middle ground? Shorts and capris. Okay. Because they would literally, and I actually saw the scars on their thighs because they would wrap it around their thigh. And yeah. So that is, I was basically raised like, you're, piece of shit. They never say that, explicitly, but it's more implied that, if you freaking think a bad thought, you got to go to confession and say 25 Hail Marys. Basically you're never going to be right. And that could go into more
specifics. Do they teach you this at this like youth conference? Like
it's one of those things that you learn, it's like you just sort of get indoctrinated. Can
you start out small with like rubber bands and move on to whips and chains? Because
people did that. People fucking did that.
I was like,
this shit is crazy.
Wow.
So I don't practice anymore, but that's a brief summary of my traumatic childhood.
So, my religious background is a little kind of weird. So, wait, is that word again? So I grew up in a very, very, very conservative Protestant sect, essentially. I went to parochial schools, but here's the weird thing. Like my grandparents were all super, super, super religious. My parents, I've never had this discussion with my parents, and now I'm probably never will, but they really, I always had the feeling they didn't really buy it hook, line, and sinker. Like they did because they did what they did and like went to church and sent us to the schools because that's what they were expected to do by their families. But I didn't have this super traumatic childhood. There was always sort of a grain of contempt for the church in my family, which was nice.
Yeah, that
right?
is nice.
But, it didn't last super long anyway, because I was excommunicated from the church. So I didn't get the chance to leave because they didn't want me anymore. That's okay. I was
can't even believe that.
Believe it, girl. I saw the letter. My letter.
They took the time to write a letter?
Yeah, because I wouldn't go in and confess my horrible deeds in front of the religious elders who were all white and male.
Talk about narcissism.
I know they wanted to hear my little teenage confession.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Whatever. So I just didn't do it. I ignored them because I am the queen of benign neglect, and I just was like, who cares? I'm just not going to respond to that. And then I got the letter that says, turns out you're no longer one of us, which is funny because I've been to a church, one of those churches since then. And I was thinking I was going to get struck by lightning, but I didn't.
Well, that's the thing. What are they? How are they going to know? Like, if you were to go back into a church, what are they going to? Like,
I don't know, girl. My brother got banned from Denny's for life one time, and they still go to Denny's. So I don't. They're not watching. Yeah, that's a funny story, actually. But how do they know when you go in? Whatever.
That's why. Like, whoa, psychos.
So yeah. Now I am not a part of any faith community, other than like sort of, let's all just be nice people and good people. But other than that, it's called the human race, part of the human race. So I guess the question is, right? Like, is there more narcissism within religious communities than in the general public? And so we got out Google again. And we did some Google research. And it turns out, according to the interwebs, that yes, there is. So there was a study done by this Dr. Glenn Ball in Canada of a certain, I guess, Christian sect of religious leaders. And it was funny. They actually hid the diagnostic test for narcissistic personality disorder within a questionnaire about like piety. And they sent it to, in like just regular sort of identification, to all of their pastors and had them fill them out. And when they filled them out and returned them, almost 32% of the pastors met the diagnostic criteria for full-blown narcissistic personality disorder. Shock that is.
Yeah. Yep.
And there was another study, I think, by Baylor University, and I thought this one was really interesting. This was like in 2012. Where they tested religious leaders of, I think they were all Christian religions again, but it's kind of ran the gamut. And they tested them for devoutness, right? Like how strictly they adhered to the doctrine. And the individuals, and this wasn't actually just pastors, I'm sorry. These were people who consider themselves religious. The individuals who scored higher on devoutness scored the lowest on ethics. Mm-hmm. Literally, like I think it was a test for ethical judgment in different scenarios, and they literally had the lowest score. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't surprise me.
Me neither.
Because I think when you think that you're somehow holy or chosen, then you think that your opinion about everything is the right opinion, and you don't have to be ethical. You just have to do what you want to do because you have God behind you.
It's also could be a cover up too. Like they know that they know in their daily lives they're pieces of shit and they're making terrible decisions, but they can kind of like cover that up by being this devout Christian or devout whatever it is.
Right.
I don't know. That's not me, so I don't know. But
well, and I think so. It's been my experience, and I think you and I have had this discussion that I have encountered so much what I realize now is narcissism within the religious community that I was raised in. The one that didn't want me anymore. Sorry. God. It's okay. It's feelings mutual. And I look back and we have this larger group of friends and individuals who are within, different religious communities. It's not all Christianity. It's all of them. Scientology, that's a big one.
Oh.
And I think the reason why narcissism sort of blossoms in that environment is multifaceted. And one is there is this ready pool of willing victims who just buy this doctrine hook, line, and sinker. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but if you believe that the leaders within your faith community are somehow more than human, they are now divine or ordained by God, and you can't question their judgment, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for abuse. And they just put this blind trust in the system just because there's like some sort of higher power, and they learn to just mistrust their own intuition. I mean...
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
I had a circumstance when, a few years back involving this religious community that I grew up in, and they own a campground. And I'm not part of the religious community, but I was at the campground. I was still allowed to go there. Apparently, no one knew me. No one saw me at the door. They still took my $2 to go in. But, family and friends have this camper at this campground, and it's actually in a beautiful location. So they're like, hey, come out. Your kids and my kids, they can all play together. It'll be fun. And I'm like, okay. So at one point, my kids are walking around sort of unsupervised. I'm like, you guys, I need to know where you are. You need to check in with me. And this poor woman, who, by the way, is a lovely person, says, oh, but it's okay. You don't understand. Everyone here's a Christian. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, that's
you believe
sad.
that? You believe that your kids can walk around in this campground full of 1,000 people and they're totally safe because everyone's a Christian. Holy shit. And it's just like, that is that mentality.
Right.
I'm like, honey, you have no idea.
Yeah. That's scary.
Isn't it so frightening?
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there, put in this awkward situation with my own kids saying, never mind what she just said. Check in with me every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't go in anybody's camper, and no candy is free.
No candy is free.
But it's funny because I was looking at, all of the different aspects of narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder that we discussed, I think, starting in episode 1. And think about that with respect to these religious communities, like the love bombing. And, that's how they get you. It's just like the narcissist. That's how they bring you into this community is by saying, we love you. You're special to us. You're so important. We're here for you. We'll support you. And then...
Right.
And then they have you.
The things they do, like if you're a new member, it's like, they just treat you like you're amazing. And I mean, that's not uncommon to have some sort of like welcoming committee. But I think that once you dive deeper into like the little like Bible studies and the side things, and that's when it can get weird. It can get weird. But if you're a target, I know I know you were too. I was targeted by people in the religious community, so that fuck yeah, they love bomb the shit out of me.
I know. I think you have a story about this.
Yeah, want me to tell it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wrote it down right there.
I didn't know if you had to say anything else.
Yeah.
So there actually, it's funny. There are 2 stories. I'm only going to tell one, but they pretty much are the exact kind of the same thing. One was a male, one was a female. The male, which I'm not going to tell this story, but he basically did the same thing as the female. He led a Bible study. So I used to go to church and I was in Bible studies and I did all that stuff and whatever. And so he and his wife led a Bible study, and they just more so he kind of like instantly just was like, oh my gosh, and complimenting me and flattering me. And like, I was almost like a daughter to them. And anyway, he ended up being a total narc, and oh gosh. But I'll just tell the story of a female, and we'll call her PG.
Okay.
And so she was actually a colleague of mine. This was a few years ago. I had just moved to a new city. I didn't know anyone. And I'm pretty open about like my background. It was very dysfunctional. My parents are not 2 people I can go to. So I actually was a perfect victim for someone like her, because I was like looking for this mother figure. I was looking for a mentor, more so like subconsciously, because I'm a pretty independent person, but I still wanted that,
Oh, yeah.
And I was at this job where actually I had a narcissist as a direct boss. And she was overt as shit. I mean, everyone in the community knows she's just like a terrible person. And she made my life a living hell. But that's a whole nother story. So then in walks PG as the receptionist. And she was just like my best friend. You know, she was like so sweet to me, flattering me, love bombing me. She's like, I can't believe that, you know, whatever, so-and-so is treating you that way and you deserve better than that. Come over to my house. And so long story short, we ended up basically, she would kind of became my friend, my mentor. I was over at her house all the time. I met her family. I was there for holidays. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I have like a friend and a mentor. And, you know, and I was this little like young kind of vulnerable thing. And it just so happened. So obviously my job sucked. And so she was helping me get my resume together and everything else like that. And around the time when I was looking for other jobs, a position opened up in my current company and I was going to apply for it. And it was a promotion and it was a big deal. And it was actually taking the position of this narcissist, like the piece of shit that was my boss. I was going to be taking her position. Mm-hmm. But it was like I had to, it was one of the more stressful moments of at that time early in my career. And, you know, I didn't really have anyone to go to ask for advice. So all of a sudden, end of the story, I go to her house and I'm trying to talk to her about what to do. And she flips a switch, like night and day flips a switch. She went from telling me I was the most amazing person ever to, you'll never get that position. I don't even know what you're thinking. You're not put together. Your nails aren't done. Your makeup isn't done. You're like, she just went like grilled me and made me feel like the biggest piece of shit. I was crying and I just ran out of her house. So what this all has to do with religion is that she was the deacon in her church. Mm-hmm. She talked all the time about how she was just this holy woman and she had these, you know, high-ranking volunteer positions in her church and how God was this mainstay in her life. I'm sure she had a cross necklace around her neck. And she was one of the worst people I've met since I've moved to the city. And I mean, she just fits the profile of a narc 100%.
Did you get the job though?
Fuck yeah, I did.
Fuck her then.
Fuck yeah, I did.
How she knows? She probably wanted the job. That was like straight up devalue in like 5 seconds.
It was because I was that pool. I was that vulnerable pool. I was looking for something. I would believe in almost anything and whatever. And she just preyed on me. And you know she's doing it to other people in her church.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you got to a position where you were going to be better than her, or in her perception, better than her. And then all of a sudden she had to take you down.
That's true. That's a good point.
Well, that's the other thing too so you're in this religious community, right? And the point of most religion, not all of them, not the old Unitarian Universalist, but you know, the point of most religion is this sort of theory that I am right and you are wrong. My version of God is right and the Muslims are wrong or the Jews are wrong or whatever. And when they tell they're telling their congregants, not only is everyone else wrong and you're right, you're special, you're chosen. It's that whole grandiosity, right? And it just feeds into that when those people, when narcissists need to be right, church is a perfect place for them because they can say, it's not me that's right, it's God, and I'm sort of a mouthpiece for God, so I'm always right.
I mean, the Catholic faith teaches you that if you're not Catholic, you'll go to hell.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they all teach that.
You know, it's like, not all of them do, but I mean, it's insane.
I know.
Chosen ones, you're the chosen one, you're saved.
Right. And so then,
Lord,
I mean, think about the playground that a church community is for a like hardcore narcissist. Mm-hmm. Because they love control, right? And now you have an entire flock of people who have checked all of their own gut instincts at the door. And they will come in and they literally believe that every word you say.
Yeah. Because
it's somehow ordained by God. Mm-hmm. And the control, I have seen the control in families and I mean, we're going to get back to the patriarchy, but you know, you see these church communities telling women not to leave their husbands who are abusive.
Yeah.
Because God doesn't want that. God wants you to stay with him. And for what? I'm not sure. But, and it's just this, and it's so easy because you can say, well, it's not me telling you this. It's God. Right. God wants you to do that.
Right.
Jesus wants you to stay, not me. So just do what I say because I'm somehow better than you or ordained. And now I'm an authority on your life. I am the foremost authority on your life. That's crazy. You see this in families too with narcissistic parents when they, I've seen this a lot because of the community that I grew up in. Parents who disown their kids and, because they didn't stay within the faith, because that faith was the way to control them. You have to get married. You have to have kids. You can't drink. You can't smoke. You can't get a tattoo because, oh my God, like that violates all of our religious tenets. And when the kid's like, fuck off, I'm going to do what I want, they lose that control.
Right.
I have a friend who is literally the most successful person I have ever met in my entire life. She is shockingly accomplished considering the community that we grew up in, and a wonderful human being. I don't want to reveal too much, but she decided to not get married and not have kids because her career did not allow for it because she travels extensively. She's the only kid that went to my school that's basically famous, right? Her family, so her parents know my parents because it's this tiny, close-knit community, religious community. If you ask her parents about her, it's like she's a fucking crack whore loser. They won't even talk about her.
Wow.
Because she is not religious. She didn't get married. She didn't have kids. She didn't follow their playbook. And they pretend like she doesn't exist. Isn't that crazy?
That's really
I'm
sad.
like, your parents treat you like a ne'er-do-well. She's like, I know.
I mean,
it's nuts.
It's like brainwashing.
I know. And it's just because they feel like they need to control every aspect of their kids' lives. And if they can't do it through religion, then how are they going to do it?
And also about public appearances, I'm sure.
I know. Well, I know, but
my kid doesn't, whatever, so my family doesn't look like this perfect thing. And it's like...
Yeah, but their kid is awesome.
Well, right.
You know what I mean?
Not according to their value system.
Exactly. Yeah, they still have to go teach Sunday school and explain to people why their kid's such a fucking liberal. And somebody thinks, she hasn't gotten married yet. She must be gay, That's a whole other issue. Oh, my God. It's... When you have narcissists out there that are basically victimizing people, they have to hide it, right? Because it's always hiding the bad behavior. They abuse people in one respect, and then they hide it. What better place to hide than within a church community?
Yep.
Where that is literally structured to hide bad behavior. I mean, this is the Catholic Church. This is the Catholic Church and the sex abuse scandals within the Catholic Church. If you're a pedophile, you better become a priest because otherwise you're going to jail. I mean, that should have been like the MO in the 50s and 60s for all pedophiles because 70s, 80s, that's where they hid. And the whole system was structured to support it. And honest to God, it's not just the Catholic Church. I mean, Protestant churches did the same damn thing, just not on such a widespread scale. I mean, because they're not as big for starters. But yeah, then you talk about triangulation. I mean, forget about triangulating with the other woman or your other kid when you can triangulate with God, right? When you're like, it's not me that thinks you're a bad person, but God sees your sins. They see everything you do. Oh my God. How many times did your parents tell you that God sees everything you do? And were you awake at night?
God. That's true, actually, now that I think about it.
I used to think my dead relatives could see me too. I was terrified of that.
I was too. I was like, oh my gosh.
I was like, when they die and they're in heaven, they can see everything.
That's just such bullshit.
So, and then,
But it keeps you constantly anxious and insecure, and that's what narcissists want.
I know.
That's part of the triangulation.
Maybe God's just a narcissist.
Maybe that's why I have so many of them running around. Good, come on.
Who do you think you're God? As the Hindus, there's a lot of you. So, and then there's the whole devaluation phase, right? So I can talk about this because I was excommunicated. When they decide that you don't fit into their preconceived notion of who you should be and how you should behave and how you should interact with people, and they kick you out, that devaluation is insane. you are not just not going to church anymore. Now, no one can talk to you. No one can hang out with you because you're basically possessed by Satan. And you're just going to turn everybody away. And isn't it so sad? But we shouldn't talk to her because she's just a wayward child. In the meantime, you're just living a normal life. It's not like you're out there doing lines of blow and, selling your body. I mean, God, it's just, but they foster that sort of resentment and rejection from your own community. And it's terrifying when that's all you ever knew and that's what you grew up in. I like this one. The marginalization within the church, right?
Yeah. There were like certain friends I wasn't really supposed to have if they weren't Catholic. Well,
yeah. I actually this was not my parents again. This was more grandparents, but they were like, you can be friends with those people, like acquaintances, but unless you convert them, you can't really be friends with them. They can't spend the night because, they're not saved. And we don't want those people in our houses. I'm like, this is so crazy.
Weird.
I'm like, I'm like 6 years old. What the hell do you think we're going to do? We're going to watch like fucking Sesame Street and eat cheese.
Cheese.
And I was like, are you saved?
That's really random.
No. My whole childhood, I would eat crab singles. This is the whole story. But
oh yeah, those are the best.
I know, the little wrappers.
Yeah, just the sound of that wrapper coming off. You're like, oh, heaven's about to start right now.
I fucking love that cheese when I was a kid. I loved it. It was like every day after school, I'd eat like 4 crab singles. I was so skinny.
Were you like super
too.
excited when like the thick ones came out? You're like,
oh
yes.
my God, yes. And then your mom would buy anything other than the crab singles. And you're like, what the fuck is this shit? She's like, it's on sale.
No way.
It's like cardboard, Mom. But yeah, it's different in. I mean, I had some marginalization. They wanted me not to hang out with certain friends, and I couldn't stay the night at their houses because I don't know, they're probably going to have a seance or something and talk to the devil. I don't know what my parents thought was happening, but you see some communities where it's like it's the point of the religious community to marginalize them and keep them away. I mean, it gets super culty. I know. I mean, this is exactly what Scientology does. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you seen all the Leah Remini documentaries and read any of the books? Like, no. That is some crazy ass shit. And basically, they're just cut off from their entire community. And when they can cut off your support system like that,
yep,
that's when the abuse just gets hot and heavy. Because what are you going to do? You have nowhere to go,
right? And by that point, they've beat you down so much, you probably think you deserve it.
Like fundamentalist Mormonisms, like that.
Yep.
Yeah, but even to a lesser extent, I think some of the other religions, just because.
Well, my family would just always talk shit about other religions. Like, oh my gosh, the non-denominational, they're the worst kind. Like, that's the last place you want to be. They would just like talk shit about other religions. And of course, you're a kid, you don't, I remember thinking, but the thing is all these people that you're talking shit about are so cool and so nice and good people. Mm-hmm. And all the people I'm meeting in the Catholic faith are awful. Something, it does not add up here.
Well, I remember getting shit from my grandparents for dating boys who weren't our like version of like they could be like
I didn't date a lot
marginally different than they could still be Christian, but they're not our kind of Christian. And they would say things like, "This is like in high school, okay?" Yeah. They're like, "Why are you dating him? He's not in our church." And I'm like, "Well, because he's cool or whatever, and I like him and he's really cute. And did you see him in his baseball pants?" And they're like, "Why are you going to marry him?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I'm 16. Probably not."
Oh
They're like, "Well, if you're not going to marry him, why would you even bother dating him?"
Oh my gosh.
Because I want to make out. Because I'm 16 and I want to make out the backseat of my car, Grandma.
Wow.
I know.
That's such unnecessary, weird pressure for a kid.
Yeah, but that shit happens all the time.
Oh, that happened to me. I was actually talking to my 12-year-old niece about boys, and I was like, "Are you dating anyone?" or whatever, a boy's cute. She's like, "No." She's like, "Well, I only can date them if I'm going to marry them." So, and I'm like, "Oh no," she's already starting to believe that.
Oh, see, we're going right back to the patriarchy again.
That's totally.
That is that religious community trying to keep her pure and whole for her husband.
Right.
Ew. That's
right.
So
but
gross.
He can sleep around all he wants.
Oh, God.
But
with whatever.
Hey.
That's
okay.
Well, so since we always get back to relationships here. Let's have a little discussion, because have you ever dated any of these guys who are super religious when you weren't super religious, Em?
Oh, yeah. So there's
one
one
of them
that
even has a nickname.
One of them has a nickname. We affectionately refer to him in my little friend group as the Cat Slayer. And oh my gosh. So,
I don't even know where you start with the Cat Slayer.
Yeah. This was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. So I met him on a dating app, and our first date was at a golf course, and he shows up just probably still drunk from the night before, because he was like splashing his face with water, and he just looks like fucking holy hell. And I was like, oh God. But we actually ended up hitting it off, and I didn't know that he was very religious at the time. And we had a good time, and we went out on a couple dates. I didn't really know.
Wait. Let's back up though. When did he drop on you how religious he was?
So this is the thing. Okay.
I know.
Okay. So we had a couple dates, whatever. And I went over to his house for dinner.
Yes. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah. And I was like, and that's basically the time when he so he didn't actually tell me about it. This is how I figured it out. So
you had to pee.
Here's the thing.
To pee. That's how you figured it out.
I did have to pee. Here's the thing though. And like, I'm not judging people for when they choose to have sex or not have sex. Like, do it whenever you want to do it. But like, it was one of those things. Y'all know it if you've dated in your adult life. We were sexting, and all signs were leading to, he was like very, very sexual with me. So all signs were leading to, we're going to have a good night tonight. Right? Okay. And everyone knows what I mean. So I was getting all ready and all my stuff, and I had a little like sleepover bag, and I was so excited. I'm like, yes.
You brought a toothbrush.
Like, oh my God. I was like, let's I even probably brought like chocolate. I was just like, I was going all out. And because he was alluding to that this was going to be a fun night. Okay. So I get over there. He's making dinner. He's
that's
got
nice,
like a bouquet of roses, a card, like all this stuff. He's kind of love bombing. Actually, I think he might have been a little narky, but kind of love bombing me. But it also was kind of normal for a date, whatever.
Right.
And so... But here, I've got a one-track mind right now. Like, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll have a little bit of dinner, but then let's kind of get down to why I'm here. Because, like,
I was sensing a pattern with you. Was it tacos?
Actually, yeah.
Was it sex and tacos?
So really, lately it's been my pattern, but and it never, and it never works. It doesn't work. So anyway, so I'm over there, and I'm like, all right, well, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta pee. So. I go into the bathroom. I'm not going to say that part. Should I say that part? The first thing that happened? All right. The first thing I'll say is that I went into one bathroom, and the toilet wasn't exactly empty.
It was a ghost.
It was, a ghost must have, I don't know. And I was like, oh my God, you have a date coming over and you don't flush your toilets? What are you doing? Oh my God. So I was like, this is what is happening here.
So you go to the
So I go to the bathroom, and then that's when I realize the degree to his.
Did he know you went into the other bathroom?
Well, I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I mean,
so let's just talk about what you saw. It was like poltergeist. What was in the other bathroom on his mirror?
Okay, so on the mirror. Well, first of all, how I found it is that I went pee, and and I looked and I was like, oh God, there's no toilet paper. I'm like, oh God. So I'm like squabbling over, trying to figure out what to do. There's no toilet paper underneath the sink either. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So I grabbed the hand towel and I used that. That's when I noticed on the mirror. I was like, oh my gosh. He had written this stuff in like red marker on a white piece of paper and taped it onto the mirror, and it was like, women are of the devil, and sex is of the devil, and drinking is of the devil. Like this like far-fetched religious sort of whatever. And I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh. And I put the hand towel in his little linen basket.
You didn't hang it back up though.
Washed my hands. I know. And I went back out and I was like, so I gotta go. This has been real fun. And I pretty much like hightailed it out of there.
Can I, why did we call him the Cat Slayer?
Oh, he had like 1 million cats.
Ew.
He had a lot of cats. And
Why?
It smelled like cats.
That is the worst date ever.
Oh, I have worse, but I mean, and it actually got kind of worse. But anyway, yeah.
How many cats do you think he had?
I don't remember. I'm trying to block it out.
That's so weird.
Maybe it'll come up in therapy one day.
Why do you have so many cats?
I don't know.
Well, we have, we've had discussions with groups of friends of ours, and like all of those have come up where, well, there's one that was shared with us very recently, or somewhat recently. Don't get distracted.
Okay.
Or we have a friend who was dating a guy who, I don't know if they ever had sex. Like, it was all sort of like sexual innuendo and sort of come-ons, and then would reject her at the last minute every time, over and over. That's and what over they do. And over.
See, but he did this. Cat Slayer did this to me too. He was so overtly sexual and making me think a certain thing, and then he would completely just like not let it happen. He's like, "Let's go play volleyball." I'm like, "What?"
Volleyball?
Yeah.
The fuck.
So we played volleyball for
Is that a euphemism for something else?
2 minutes. And then he's like, "Hey, let's go play a musical instrument." I'm like, "I'm sorry.
What?
Is this summer camp?" No.
What instrument did you play?
The violin.
What?
Yeah. I didn't play. He played, whatever. And
he played the violin.
Yes.
You have the weirdest days.
Oh, hell
what the
yeah,
fuck is that? You play the violin and play volleyball and have a million cats.
Yeah.
Poop in the toilet. That's so fucking weird. Wow. So Cat Slayer was religious.
At least I didn't go back for another date.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, once bitten, twice shy. So I have this professional only ever relationship. This just happened. This is so weird. Like I posted something on Facebook that was actually really funny and like quippy about how male ejaculation causes 100% of unwanted pregnancies, right? And I thought that was funny. And this dude slides into my DMs, married, uber Catholic, like 5 sons Catholic. And the oldest one is like 4.5, swear to God. And slides into my DMs and he's like, "I'd like you to know that all of my ejaculations are intentional." And I didn't respond.
What the what?
Yeah, I'll show you these. So I don't respond, right? 2 days later, he's like, "Am I offending you? I thought you liked my sense of humor."
Oh, wow.
Still don't respond. And he's like, "I guess I'll take a hint." I'm like, what the fuck is that? You are the most pious, crazy, religious person I have ever met in my life. And you think you're entitled to do that?
Mm-hmm.
This was like an article. This wasn't even me talking about like a personal experience. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was super pissed by that. But, I think in conclusion, I don't want to come across as anti-religion because, religion and faith does a lot for a lot of people. And if that's your thing, then go for it. Right. But I think you need to be very cautious about the people that you're introduced to in these religious communities. Because when anyone tells you that you should just trust them or listen to them just because of a belief system, there's going to be a problem there. You should steer clear.
Yeah, especially if you're not allowed to ask questions.
Right.
I mean, we talked about this for a podcast. Just trust me is what a lot of narcissists say. And if you try to ask questions, they like lose their shit.
Of course. Trust me. I wish you would trust me. Yeah. Why don't you believe in me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you're a terrible person. But, and that's the way it goes back to, even when you're dealing with these faith communities, you have to remember to trust actions and not words. It's got to be the way that they treat you. Because talk is so cheap. So anyway, to wrap it up, I did more research on this than I did on our main topic right now. We're wrapping it up with our girl crushes.
Ooh, yeah.
I know you got a good one. Go.
Kate Middleton.
You love her.
I love her. Okay. I've actually Googled if I could find a tank top of her face, I would wear it.
Would you really?
I've Googled them and I can't really find it. They're all like t-shirts.
So
I love her.
Why do you love Kate Middleton?
Her story of how she was actually bullied when she was in high school. And her mom had to pull her out of her high school and moved her into a different one. And I just kind of appreciate that. Like she seemed like she went through some hard shit and she came out like in a really good space. And I just really appreciate that. Like life wasn't this perfect, easy ride for her. And now she's freaking like, Kate Middleton. So I appreciate that she had some shit she had to go through. I also think it's really cool that she had a poster of Prince William above her bed in college, and she was like, I'm going to marry him. I'm going to marry him. Like, you know how I love vision boards?
Yeah,
like, she had a freaking vision board for him.
I heard that.
And then they're together.
Also kind of stalkery, but cool.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so I just really like her. I think she's badass, and she seems really sweet, even though she could probably be a total B.
Except she goes by Catherine now, right?
I don't think so.
No, she goes by Kate.
Kate.
Anyway, what would you do on your girl date?
Well, I would fly out to see her. I wouldn't expect her to come here to America to see me.
It's too hard. Way too hard.
I would go to London.
Of course.
We would just kind of walk around London. I'd want her to show me like all the places that she likes to go to. And I would just kind of go and hang out and
have tea.
Maybe see her kids too. Her kids are super cute.
Oh my God, they're really cute.
Yeah. And I used to love Prince Harry, but damn it. Too late.
Too late for him.
Too late for him.
All right. So my girl crush, which I've had for a really long time, is J-Lo. I love Jennifer Lopez. Beside the fact that she is fucking gorgeous, right?
She's very pretty.
Like she is hot. This chick has reinvented herself over and over over and over and over. Like she was a backup dancer, then she was a singer, then she was a movie star. Now she's like a judge on like TV and she's whoever she wants to be. I love that. And I love the men that she dates because girl ain't got no type. She was married to a Cuban waiter and a backup dancer and Puff Daddy.
Ben Affleck. They dated for a while,
yeah. Yeah, they were Benifer, remember? Then it was Ben Affleck, and then it was Mark Anthony, and they had the twins. They're so adorable.
Who is she married to now?
Nobody, but she was dating A-Rod.
Oh, that's right.
I know. And I think between Mark Anthony and A-Rod, there was like another backup dancer. I was like, girl, just get it. Like, it doesn't even matter. And I was so jealous of James Corden when he had her on Carpool Karaoke. Have you seen that one?
Oh my gosh, no.
Holy shit. He goes through her phone and like every person in her phone is a celebrity. And he's like texting like Leonardo DiCaprio. And from her phone, he's like, what would you say to Leo? She's like, be like, hey, baby, what's up? Want to go party? He's like, okay. Oh my God. It was so great. I really wanted to be him in that moment. But,
so, well, what would you do with her if you had her for a day?
Okay, so listen, the thing, I know a lot about J-Lo because
Who's the stalker now?
I am the stalker now. And she's actually not like a club dancing party animal. She's more of a like cook dinner at home and hang out with her kids. So I think maybe we would make dinner together. Maybe watch Downton Abbey. And talk about all of her life experiences and how she like grew up poor, went to Catholic schools because her dad didn't want her to get into trouble, pregnant, and like how she just keeps like reinventing herself and rolling with the punches and like just being a different person all the time and not really caring what people think. I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
So
cool.
If anybody knows J-Lo or Kate Middleton, let them know that Em and I want to hang out.
Please.
I know. I'll bring tacos over to J-Lo's house. I mean, maybe not sex, but maybe who knows? I mean, whatever. I do really like her. So thanks for joining us. And if you haven't, check out our Instagram under S&M Podcast. We have a Twitter feed under the same name. And now we are on all the platforms I could think of. I think we're on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify. So check out our old episodes if you haven't heard them yet. Thanks.